So, I went to go see Tyler Perry's new movie, Temptation. Child, I have so many things to say about this movie because I just don't have time. Like, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. It's just like a lot. So, it's like Journey Smollett and fucking Lance Gross. Randomly Brandy's in there, and then Kim Kardashian, she's in there. And I don't know what the fuck the main character's real name is. His name's Harley in the movie. Anyways, so Journey Smith is like working for this matchmaking company, and she's working as a therapist, and she's married to Lance Gross, and Harley is the temptress, or the guy that's like tempting her. And he comes to her company, the company that she works at, and he's wanting to invest in the company. And so he's talking to Journey about stuff, about matchmaking and relationships and stuff like that. And they end up like spending a night together, working and stuff, and they're getting to know each other. And he like tells her that he's like in love with her. Well, not in love, but he like tells her that he wants to fuck her. And then he like makes her go on this trip with him to New Orleans, and they just like have fun. And then on the way back, he's like, "Do you want me?" With his beautiful lips and his just his face and his body. And of course she was like, "I want you." He's like, "Say you want me." And she's like, "I'm married." He's like, "If you were mine, blah, 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 I would do this." And she's like, "Well, you're not mine because I'm married." And she's like, kept saying, "I'm married." And he was like, "I don't care." And then, like, he goes, like, to try to, like, kiss her and stuff. And he's, like, touching her. And she's like, stop, get off of me. Stop it. And then he's like, "You stop it. Okay, now that you resisted, don't resist anymore." And so he, like, leans in to kiss her. And then he kisses her. And then they fuck on the fucking plane. And then she gets home. And she's like, They get home, back to her place, and he's pulling up outside her house, and then her husband, like, pulls up right when he pulls up, and then she gets out the car, and they're, like, fighting, and then her husband and her mom comes, and so her mom's just there, and then she's, like, all feeling guilty and stuff, and then, like, then she goes to work the next day, and Harley comes to her job, and he, like, completely ignores her. Oh, well, he ignored her because she told him that she didn't want to see him ever again. And so that's why he came to her job and ignored her. And then so she called him he called her. And she was like, "You came to my job. You didn't say anything to me. I'm so pissed at you right now." And he's like, "Well, you're the one that told me not to say anything to you. What do you want me to do, Journey? Stop playing games with me. Do you want me or not?" And she's like, "I'm married. It's complicated." He's like, "No, it's not. Do you want me? Say you want me." And she's like, "I want you." He's like, "I'm coming to get you right now." And so he comes to get her and they fuck. And then while she's there at his house, he's like, "I want to start a business with you. I'm going to help you open your own practice so you can be a marriage counselor." And she's like, "You'll do that for me?" He's like, "Yeah, one condition. You have to be my girlfriend." She's like, "But what about my husband, Bryce? What are we going to do with him?" He's like, "You have to leave Bryce." And she's like, I don't know if I can do that. It's so hard." And he's like, "Well, get the fuck out of my house. Get out now." She's like, "Are you asshole? You're so mean. Why would you just kick me out of your house right now?" And he's like, "Get out because you're playing games." And so she like throws a bunch of food at him. And like she threw this croissant. And he was like sitting there with no shirt on. And she threw this croissant at his chest. And she threw some wine on him too. And some fruit at his face or something. And she threw, the croissant is what I'm talking about right now. She threw this croissant against his chest. And the croissant was just like, And I was like, oh my god, why does that croissant look so good right now? Like, I didn't even notice the croissant before. It was like in plain sight. But then as soon as it was like against his skin on his body, this croissant just looked so delicious. And I was just like, that croissant, really it's your body, but the croissant, no, it's your body that I'm really attracted to right now. And whenever he would laugh, you could like see his abs clench. And it was just like, my vagina was clenching as his abs were clenching, and my vagina was just like, and I was like about to have a seizure the whole time because everything about him was just beautiful. He was so beautifully brown. And so she leaves, and then she goes back to her house, and her mom's like, I know you're with that Harley boy. He's the devil. And she's like, he's not the devil, Mama. And her mom's like, oh my God, you're changing so much. You're evil now. And then she's like, you're gonna go to hell. And Journey's like, well, I'll just enjoy the ride. And then her mom slaps her, and she's like, ah! And then she's laughing all evilly. She's like, ha, 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 like a devil or something. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this girl? Why did she just switch it up? It's like been 5 days. And she's like already like evil out of nowhere. Like her husband wakes up. He's like, what's going on? Talk to me, Journey. And she's like, no, Bryce, get away. And she like goes and take a shower. And then like the next day she goes back to Bryce's house and she's like, oh, Bryce, I'm so sorry. Then they fuck in his car. And then after that, they just like do a bunch of shit together, and it's just like them being happy and her cheating on her husband. And then Lance Gross is just like watching her like, my wife, she's leaving me. And at the time, Lance Gross is like a pharmacist, and he's like working with this old lady. And then Brandy, you know, the singer Brandy. The whole time Brandy is in the movie, I'm just like, why are you here, Brandy? Like, she keeps like different scenes of Brandy, just like, Brandy, why are you in this scene? Why are you in this movie right now? Just like her with her teeth and her eyes, just, and her bangs. I'm like, okay, Brandy, why are you here? Anyways, Lance Gross works with Brandy at this pharmacy. And right at this point, he like knows that Journey's cheating on him, and he's like, I lost my wife. And then Brandy's like, oh, it's okay, I know how you feel. Let me help you. And so she like befriends Lance Gross, and Lance Gross knows he's cheating. She's cheating on him. And so Lance Gross goes to this like fucking club that he knows Journey is at there. And so he goes in the club, and Journey's like on the couch with Harley and like all these women around her, and she's like all drunk and coked up on like meth and ecstasy, probably. I don't know. I didn't see that. Anyways, so he goes into the club, and Journey's like, get out of here, Bryce. And he's like, no, come with me now. And then Harley's like, she doesn't want to go. And he's like, get up now. And so he pulls her arm and pulls her out of the club. And then she's like, what are you doing? He's like, I've been at home waiting for you, and you're here at this club. And she's like, well, stop waiting for me. And he's like, oh, you didn't just say that. And she's like, yes, I don't feel alive with you anymore, Bryce. I feel dead. She's like, I need someone that's phenomenal. You're a good guy, but I need a phenomenal man. And I just can't be with you anymore. And he's like, no, why would you do this? And he's just crying and stuff. And then there's this, okay, let me back up. There was this one scene where Lance Gross just came out of the shower. He just came out of the shower. And I swear, like, I made this sound. It was like an ostrich, like, mixed with a whale and a dolphin. And I was just like, and I like went to like a seizure. And like, I was just, and I, like, the emotion, like, my eyes started tearing up. And I just like, you guys should have seen his body when he got, I was just like, I kept saying the chocolate, the chocolate, the chocolate. Oh my God, the chocolate. And he was so chocolate, and his body was just so succulent. And he was just drying himself off with this towel. And I was like, oh my God. And I was just like crying, like tears were coming out of my, I'm not even like, this is like a literal thing. Like, tears were coming out of my eyes. Like, that much emotion, like, happened to me when I saw Lance Gross come out of that shower with his chocolate body. Like, everything just, I don't want to date a white man ever again. I only want chocolate men now. I'm like, turned forever. Okay, back to the end. So, she leaves Lance Gross for Harley. And Lance Gross, or Bryce, I guess I could call him Bryce, it's just like really sad. He's like hanging out with Brandy all the time, and Brandy's like cooking him meals, and he's like, Brandy, when are you gonna ever find love again? She's like, no, not since my ex-boyfriend. I can't do it right now. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm so hurt right now. Yeah, me too. And she's like, I know, we're both in the same position. Like, we're both sad right now. And she's like, whatever. And so I'm just like, I'm still like, why is Brandy in this movie? I said the same thing about Kim Kardashian, but Kim Kardashian kind of actually fit her role. Like, she actually did a good job. She wasn't even that bad. Anyways, so Journey comes back home to get the rest of her stuff from her apartment. Well, she just came back to get her laptop. And so she comes back, and like her mom and her church friends are all in the living room praying. They're like, "Oh Jesus, Jesus, bring her home, Lord God." They're like in a circle, like praying, like heavily. So she comes back in, and Harley's with her, and they're like, she grabs her laptop. Her mom's like, "Oh, you came back, please, child, pray with me, stay." And she's like, "No, mom, I'm leaving." And then Harley like grabs the laptop from her. No, her mom takes the laptop from her, and she's like, "Mom, give me back my laptop." And then Harley like goes and grabs the laptop from her mom and like pushes her mom on the floor. And Journey's like, "Why did you push my mom on the floor? Mom, are you okay?" And he's like, "Come on, Journey, right now." And he like grabs Journey and yanks her out the house. And then back at his apartment, Journey's like, "Why would you do that? Why would you push my mom on the floor?" He's like, "Why are you taking your mom's side? You should be on my side right now." She's like, "No, you just pushed my mom. I'm leaving." So she starts getting clothes and stuff. He's like, "I love you. Why are you doing this? Why? Are you leaving me now? Are you leaving me?" And so he goes in the closet and he like smacks her, and then that's the end of that scene. And then we go back to Lance Gross and Brandy. They were like talking. He's like, "Are you ever gonna find love again?" And she's like, "I have HIV." And he's like, "What? You have HIV, Brandy? Oh my gosh!" And he like hugs her. She's like, "Well, I'm not running from Harley anymore." He's like, "Harley? What do you mean, Harley?" She's like, "Yeah, Harley. That's my ex-boyfriend." He's like, "What? Oh my god, my wife is with Harley. Oh my god, does she have HIV too?" "Yes, she does have HIV too, because she slept with Harley." Anyways, so he's like, "Oh my god, my wife, I have to go get her." So he runs to Harley's apartment, him and Brandy, and he runs in the house, and then Journey's just like on the couch, all bloody and bruised, and then Harley's in the bed sleeping drunk. And so he's like, "Oh my gosh." She's like, "Oh my god, you came back. I was so mean to you. Oh my god." He's like, "I know, we can work it out." She's like, "Okay." And then so he takes her out to the car to Brandy, and then he goes back in the house and he beats up Harley, and Harley's like on the ground. And then Brandy comes in the room. He's like, "Oh my god, it's you, Brandy. You came back." And she's like, "Hey, yeah, Harley, it's me." And then they run out. He's like, "Don't ever touch my wife or Brandy ever again." And then they run out, and then that's like basically the end of the movie. Then you see Journey when she's older, and she's a marriage counselor at like a fucking lame ass office, and then she's talking to some white girl, and she's like telling the white girl the story of her life. And it turns out Journey actually got HIV, and so she, at the end of the movie, they have a scene of her, and Lance Gross is like older, and she's really old, and she's picking up her HIV medicine from Lance Gross because he works at a pharmacy. And then his wife and child walk in, and they kiss and hug, and he's like all happy with his family. And then she walks out, and she's all alone, and she has AIDS, and she's like dying. She's all limping down the street like this, and she's like, "Oh, sad," and the music's all sad. And then Brandy's just there for some reason still. She's still there. She's still in the movie for some reason. Anyways, and it's like really sad, and it turns out everyone has AIDS. Well, except for Lance Gross. He never got it. And that's the end of the movie. And yeah, basically the highlights of the movie for me were when Lance Gross came out of the shower and he was very chocolate. And then when she threw the croissant at Harley and it landed on his chest, and the croissant looked very delectable at that moment. But really it was his body that looked delectable. But the croissant on his body made the croissant look good just from being on his body. It was a lot. Those were the two main points that I wanted to speak on the most. Him getting out of the shower and then the croissant on his chest. Everything else was pretty good too, I guess. Kim Kardashian, she did an okay job. She wasn't that bad of an actor, but really, she was acting as herself, so it wasn't like a hard thing. Like, it wasn't a role where she had to show like emotion. All she had to do was really act like herself, because really she was just like Journey's friend, and she was trying to give Journey fashion advice, because Journey dressed like a Christian woman with no fashion sense at all. And basically Kim Kardashian was there the whole time just telling her, "Why don't you wear this? You never look sexy. Oh my god, you look like a mom." And that's really her whole part. And so it's not like she could have been bad at that, because that's basically who she is in real life. And so yeah, and then Vanessa Williams was in it too. She had a fake French accent. And then Tyler Perry wasn't in it. Madea wasn't in it, thank God, which is reasonable. Why would she be in it? Anyways, who else? Other than that, the girl that played the older version of Journey was like an exact replica of Journey when she was older. Like, that's exactly what Journey's gonna look like when she's older. It's crazy. And then Lance Gross, when he was older, he looked gross. Ha, you get it? You get it? He looked gross. Lance Gross. It was a good movie. I liked it.